Okay, we're ready to get started. Good morning or good afternoon, based on your time zone. I'm Tom D'Amico, the RVP of Sales for MediaFly, and I want to welcome and thank you for carving time out of your schedules to participate in our webinar. While today's webinar is part 2 in a series, trust me, there'll be plenty of new information for you to gather. Just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. We have about 30 minutes of content to present, followed by 10 minutes of Q&A. If you would submit your questions in writing through the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, we'll get to those at the end of the webinar. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Christy Wiggers, who will be presenting the content today. Christy, please.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Christy Wiggers. I'll just give you a little bit about my background. I was actually the first feet on the ground salesperson hired into MediaFly. That was, I think about 7 or 8 years ago. Actually, let me update my slide here so you can see who you're talking to. Since starting with MediaFly, I have grown to manage MediaFly's most largest and also most complex customers. I manage deployments both domestically here in the US and also global releases as well. So thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to get started real quickly. First, opening up with the agenda. We're going to, for those of you who joined us in part 1, the first couple of slides might be a bit of a recap. But we want to discuss and recap the what and why of sales enablement. From there, we'll move on to what is the risk of not doing anything at all. How can we remove barriers and augment productivity in our groups? And then obviously, how do we host internal sales enablement conversations? So before I get started, just giving you we have a lot of statistics in this presentation. So don't worry, at the end of this presentation, later on this afternoon, you'll be receiving this presentation to review later on. All right, so there are a lot of theories out there on what sales enablement is and what it isn't. There's also a lot of differing opinions on whether or not it benefits management or reps more. At MediaFly, we're not really all that worried about this theory of it all. What we're much more focused on is the execution. And we call that execution portion evolved selling. We also focus on making sure that we're not only extending value to management, but that value gets pushed through management directly down to the rep and sits there with the reps as well. In any organization, there's a natural skill curve. You know, ideally, we don't even want a curve. We basically want a straight line right at the front of that curve there. But we all know that's not really that realistic. So our goal is to try to front load that curve as much as possible. We want the low and the average performers to perform much more like the top performers. And we don't want to forget our top performers. We want to help them maximize their rewards while also decreasing their effort. The thing about top producers is they intrinsically possess the skills to listen to their customers' needs and then can also translate those needs to value statements for their product. In short, they focus on what the customer needs to know instead of what they want to say. The under and average performers struggle with one or more of these skills. They're going to fail to ask productive questions. They really need to be asking their customers to get a better understanding of that customer's prioritized needs in that moment. They also are unable to bridge the customer's needs to the benefits of their product. They're unable to pull the need back to a differentiation of their product. Just because you give reps access to content doesn't mean they know what they're presenting, why they're presenting, or even how to present it. So forward-thinking businesses are going to leverage technology to remove at least one, hopefully all, of these barriers. They provide actionable tools to augment the speed, sophistication, and success of their sales teams. This shift from relationship-based selling to more insight-based selling is the foundation of our evolved selling. So for generations, we've been selling in the same way. Why should we bother changing now? Well, that's because B2B buyers have changed, and we really need to be following suit. B2B buyers have much more resources available at their fingertips, and they're also engaging with us much later on in the sales cycle. In fact, Forrester Consulting cites that 62% of B2B buyers can develop the selection criteria or even finalize a vendor list based solely on digital content. So the bottom line here is B2B buyers into the sales cycle much more informed than ever, and also later than ever. It's probably likely that they already have a good understanding of your product before they even see the whites of your eyes. And as a salesperson, I can tell you that can hurt our feelings, because what do they need us for? Well, I can tell you they don't need us to show up and parrot the same information that they've already read. So a general pitch deck is going to risk underwhelming them, or even worse, making the rep look to the customer as an unproductive use of time. So what are the reps doing? We're looking to the marketers, you all on the call who are in the marketing roles, we're looking to you to provide us with selling stories that allow us to fill in the few remaining blanks our customers have. Our customers are looking for a personalized and engaging interaction that demonstrates how our products bring value to their unique business needs at that time. I can tell you, as a rep myself, it is an ever-growing struggle. It's a huge challenge to make our voices rise above the distractions and the competition. We need your help. We need you to arm us with the real-time data and insights specific to our customers. Obviously, the goal is that we can walk into these sales interactions with data-backed business reasons for why our customers should buy. So what happens if we do change with the buyer? There's lots of good information on this slide, lots of statistics. So I'm really just going to kind of leave you with just one. Forbes cites sales enablement solutions as the #1 investment for boosting sales productivity. That is an overwhelming stat. Oh, actually, hold on a second. If you look in the bottom right, I love this one. 70% lift in buyers purchasing more than originally scoped. That's like promising your teen a Honda and driving up in a Tesla. So there are things we can't control. There are things we can control. So let's focus on what we can control. We can't control the B2B buyer. But these 3 challenges are definitely areas where we can make improvement. These are the 3 areas in which we see the most common challenges regardless of industry or company size.